giving you the real surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with your host, Skywalker Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Chip. Good morning, good people. Welcome to the Skywalker Morning Show. We're streaming live on YouTube, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom! All eyes on the defense this week, right? This could be the matchup that decides this game. Can this Cowboys defense bounce back? There will be no resting. There will be no taking it easy against this Chicago Bears offense that has talent, and they are looking to put it all together. We're going to break it down, take a look at this Bears offense against the Cowboys defense. Plus, Matt Eberflus, he hinted at a possible role change, Cowboys Nation. He hinted at a possible role change, and we're going to take a listen to some of the things that Flus said. I got some opinions on what he mentioned there, and he pretty much confirmed one of the main issues from Sunday that we have been harping about when we watched the film and just talking in general. So we'll listen to him, and then we'll dive into this Bears offense, and then we can take a listen to the Bomb Squad, if you will, on this beautiful Friday. 351-999-3787 is the call-in line. Happy Friday, squad.
Bomb Squad!
How y'all doing on this Friday as the Cowboys? I believe it's their final practice before they head out to Chicago. Probably not going to be much of a practice, probably more of a walkthrough or shells or what have you. But we did get big news yesterday for this offense, that is, and we're going to need it. This has potential. I hope not. I do not want to come back on here on Monday talk about the same damn thing, but this does have potential to be a bit of a high-scoring game. And yesterday on the way out, y'all know I don't do predictions. When I say predictions, I don't do score predictions anymore. I just stopped doing it. But you got to adapt to your environment, and we ended up doing a score prediction, right? And I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking, but I said, 27 to 14. I was like, wait. Do I really believe they're only going to score 14? Look, even if the defense improves, are they going to improve from 37 to 14? I don't know about that one there, man. This could be a little bit more scoring going on, but hopefully at the end of the day, it's not too much more. 17, 20, something like that. 20 points I'll live with. But as long as they walk out of there with the W, and as long as they improve on some of those things that we saw last week, that was a problem, I saw what you said there, Drew. Funny thing about that, Drew, I don't know if I want to talk about it publicly, but yeah, that Diggs Bubba Dub thing is, yeah. Gotta chill, man. Get off the internet. You gotta get off the internet. But all right. Anyway, appreciate y'all jumping up in here. Let's get into the roundup. We have some injury report news, and then we'll talk about what Flus had to say.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you, Cowboys Nation. Yeah, I think I was a little bit drunk last night when I said 14. I don't know what I was thinking, Professor O. I don't think it's going to be 14. I was just trying to get up out of there. Injury news. Man, I don't want to I ain't going to knock on wood, but injury report came back very good for the Cowboys, and so far so good for real. To start this season. There's only one DNP, and that continues to be Deron Bland, who is not expected to play until next week. So next week they get the Green Bay Packers. So I don't mind them taking their, time with this, because what we don't want to happen is what happened with DB a couple years ago. Where it's like, oh, yeah, we'll see DaRon Bland week 5, and we didn't see DaRon Bland until like week 11, 12, or whatever it was. So I hate that it is a foot injury, lower leg injury again, but it is what it is. Make sure he comes back fully healthy, because we will need him next week. Now, we could use him this week. We're going to break down the Bears. We could use them this week. They got some weapons over there, but they're still figuring things out. Trayvon Diggs returned to practice. They said Diggs had an illness. He was all sick from that performance, damn it. All of us. We all were DNP on Monday or Tuesday or whatever the hell it was from that performance, Trayvon. So, hey, you're probably sick of arguing with comedians online. So. I mean, he probably was sick. I don't know. It's jokes, but I wonder what kind of illness it was. Hopefully it does not spread in the locker room. Somebody said he got that BAN syndrome. Damn, y'all ruthless, man. But Diggs is back, and hopefully he bounces back in this upcoming game, because he does not get a chance to relax. Neighbors is going to end up being one of the best receivers in the league if he ain't already. But Rome Odunze is a problem. DJ Moore is a problem. So get ready. But the big one, or before we get to the big one, Tyler Guyton also came back in full. He had a shoulder thing, but the big one is KaVontae Turpin, loose neck Turp. He had the neck brace on after the game, and we were all concerned when we heard that, although I chuckled a little bit. But sounds like it is not a neck injury. It's a trap muscle injury. And KaVontae Turpin was out there limited. He was limited to first practice and then full the next practice. So I expect today he'll be full again and be ready to roll for Sunday's matchup against the Bears. And I always do that to y'all. I still wake y'all up. Make sure y'all still paying attention. But we talked about this after the game and yesterday on the collective and on other episodes, Sky to Why. I've been saying this on multiple platforms. The importance of KaVontae Turpin has been shown, right? We kind of figured that based off of what we saw and heard and everything that was being hinted at training camp, but you see it now. And I think the only other person that could really replace what he brings to the offense from a pre-snap, post-snap, all types of variety of ways to use him is Jaden Blue. And they're not using Jaden Blue. So getting KaVontae Turpin back is huge for this game, especially on the road, where we've seen him have some moments breaking deep in more hostile environments, a la the San Francisco 49ers. So I look forward to having him out there. And it's going to be huge, especially if it's going to be a shootout. You need all your damn weapons, right? All your weapons. So Cowboys get some good news there. Diggs is hopefully back mentally. It probably wasn't. It's not funny. I shouldn't talk about mental, but he back, and hopefully he bounces back, because he was a part of a disaster defensively. It is what it is. And one of the things that we had mentioned about how bad the defense played was it was very clear there was a ton of miscommunication, a ton of it. And Flus probably had to be the one coordinator everybody wanted to listen to after that game, because we want to know what the hell happened. And he did a good job not giving away a whole lot of anything, really. But there was some things in there I kind of took away. And one of the subtle things that stuck out to me was he brought up, or they talked about, I should say, communication. Shotty brought that up about the defense, and somebody asked him the question. And he said something that I didn't really think about, that I probably should think about, because the literal definition of communication, and you can communicate two different ways. You can communicate with signals, you can communicate with words, right? And apparently, I mean, this is what Flus said, just talking about what may have been the issue back there, besides putting Donovan Wilson on the roof, who ain't. By the way, Donovan Wilson ain't going nowhere. Not that he was. Not that I believed he would. I'm hoping that once we get into this game, though, that they switch up some roles. But yeah, he spoke very highly of Donovan Wilson, so he's still going to be out there, which if he's out there, just put him in position to where he succeeds the most. And that ain't back there on the roof, Flus. It ain't. Got sidetracked, though. But he said this. He said, this was the first game we played at home, and things were a bit loud. And these guys have to do better with their signals because they could not understand each other verbally. Not that part. I'm paraphrasing. But he essentially talked about the noise being a factor and that they have to be better with their hand signals or signals in general. Non-verbal communication. That's all part of defense, right? Of course, you're going to get in environments, specifically at the crib, where it's uber loud and you can't hear what the slot guy is saying 25 yards away or whatever. I'm being about 25 yards. So you got to have your hand signals in check. And I'm like, well, I should have, thought about that, but I didn't, because I'm just watching them get worked and everybody kind of like, which way did he go? Which way did he go? So they have to clean that up, whether it's nonverbal, whether it's verbal signals, whatever it is, because it was far too many times you saw just one guy playing a completely different coverage. And that was the difference in potentially a touchdown, big play, first down, etc. So they got to clean that up, man. And I know there was some pushback on communication aspect. I don't know how you could watch the film and come away with it not being a ton of miscommunication between the defensive back or the corners and the safeties. And then there's just, in my opinion, the play of, and I'll just keep singling him out because there was far too many moments back there with him at safety and Donovan Wilson. There was play issues across the board. But as a safety, it's clear to me the deficiencies that he has were on display more than anybody else. And that's a lot with the vision. That's a lot with coverage. He can't cover a bunch of grass. He doesn't really have a great awareness as the roof guy, period. And even if he's not back there by himself, even if he's back there too high and they're doing a cover 4 or whatever, it's just not his game. It's not his game. But it doesn't sound like they're going to be taking him out. I just hope like hell, if possible, if they decide to do some cover 3 things, they do it with Malik. And honestly, for the most part, it was a lot of Malik doing it. But that coverage bust on 4th and 4, I don't understand what that was. Again, another miscommunication. Let's take a listen to Flus, though. They asked him about a couple rushers, believe it or not. And the first one was Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney's here. Shouts out to Patrick Nosey Walker and I think Nick Harris for these questions here. Clowney's here. We talked about this yesterday on the collective. How much will he play? Cowboys Nation, how much do you think Jadeveon Clowney will play? Very first game. He's a veteran. I think he is a roll out the bed type that can play roughly 20 snaps. I can see him creeping up in the 20s. I mean, into 20. It might not be 20, but I can see him creeping up 18 to 20 snaps in this game. Especially if it's going to be a game where the Giants have like 75 plays or something, whatever it was. They had a ton of plays. It might have been more than that. If this gets into a track meet and both offenses have the ball a lot, yeah, I can easily see Jadeveon Clowney creeping in that 18 to 20 snap range. If this is a bogged down, Cowboys have 35 minutes of possession, type of game, then yeah, I think that'll be on the lower end. But I expect him to try to get out there and get his feet up under him sooner rather than later. So I think Jadeveon Clowney will play a little bit. But listen to Matt Eberflus talk about one Jadeveon Clowney.
This is our first time speaking to you since Jadeveon Clowney officially signed onto the team. So 2-part question. First part is, and I see your smile creeping up thinking about Clowney.
My boy said, boy, we finally got a little help in here, huh?
Just talk about, through your eyes, why Jadeveon Clowney and why right now?
Yeah, anytime you can add pass rushers, I'm all in. So if you...
Right there. There was this thing when the Cowboys were interested in Jadeveon Clowney, and it's, hey, man, we're bringing the Jadeveon Clowney in here for run defense. No. We're bringing him in here for both. Clowney, yes, one of the best edge defenders since he's come into the league. The Cowboys' issue has not been defending the run from the edge, from in general. We talked about this. I think Eberflus was going to have a major effect on defending the run. Now, have they been gangbusters? Have they been the 2000 Ravens? No. They've been solid against the run, which is a major improvement. But that hasn't been the issue the first 2 weeks. It hasn't been. It's been getting to the quarterback and pressuring the quarterback. And he's like, yeah, anytime I can get more pass rushers in here, I'm going to smile.
You say those two words, pass rusher, I say yes.
I say yes. So again, that was him talking about Jadeveon Clowney, and I kind of already went in on him being big on his pass rush aspect. Here's the thing, though. He should not be looked upon as your Superman. He's just going to be a part of this rotation. In fact, the move I would make is a move that he may be potentially making right now from internally. Still would love to go get a dude, but that's probably not going to happen for the Cowboys for quite some time. But in the title, I'll talk about how he hints at a potential role shift. This is the one right here.
James Houston has the highest pressure rate on this team.
Yes, he does. It's a hell of a week last week.
He said James Houston, by the way.
It's a hell of a week last week, right? There's 16 plays and a sack and a couple pressures.
Yeah, I'm just curious of your overall evaluation on James Houston and, adding a defensive end.
Yeah, I love his energy. I love where he is in terms of the mental aspect of the game, and he's a worker. And I'm excited about where he's going to go in the future.
He's not lying about the excitement of James Houston. And you look at the film, you look at the numbers. James Houston has not just been your best pass rusher. He's been your best edge. He hasn't played a whole lot. Only 18% of the defensive snaps. Look, it's only 2 games, so I'm not going to call it criminal just yet because now he sees, okay, I got 2 games worth. Got to get him more snaps. He didn't necessarily say that, but I think he's hinting at that with the excitement for his future. I think this number is likely going to creep up, I hope, past the 30% mark. Now, the thing with James Houston, you got to be careful because I don't think that he's a 75% type of guy, but he definitely needs to play more than 18% of the damn plays. But by only playing 18% of the plays, listen to these numbers. He's second on the team in stops. Second. Only playing 18% of the plays. He has of the edge guys. He has the highest quarterback pressure, period, percentage on the whole team. 18% of the snaps, by the way. And only Sam Williams, this is one is a big one too. Only Sam Williams has more tackles from the edge. 18%, but nobody else can out-tackle him. Besides Sam, who's playing upwards of 50-something, 60 or whatever it is. James Houston is not only showing you by numbers that he's your best edge, but also by film that he's your best edge. And I think now he's kind of becoming inevitable, at least from my takeaway from Flus. Let's listen to him one more time, just the excitement in his voice about James Houston.
Pressure rate on this team. And,
yes, he does. It's a hell of a week last week, right? There's 16 plays and a sack and a couple pressures.
Yeah, I'm just curious of your overall evaluation on James Houston and, adding a defensive end.
Yeah, I love his energy. I love where he is in terms of the mental aspect of the game, and he's a worker. And I'm excited about where he's going to go in the future.
He better be going on that field, Matt Eberflus. He better be going on that field. So I went and looked. His numbers did increase. So he did increase his snap count from week 1 to week 2. I believe it was 9 total snaps in week 1, 15 in week 2. I would hope that increases to at least 25 or so in week 3. And if that's the case, where do you eat into these snaps, especially with Jadeveon Clowney too? For me, it'd be obviously Fowler for me and Donovan Izaraku. I would actually swap the usages of Houston and Izaraku. Izaraku, to me, if you go and look at our rating the draft, I had him as a DPR this year because of the depth in the room. But because of the situation going into the season, those roles had to increase from DPR guys to legitimate, getting part of the heavy rotation type of guys. I think if you flip that a little bit, you'll get more production from that end. And that is even with what Izaraku said about how he hinted at they're being asked to kind of mush rush to keep these scrambling quarterbacks in. But I loved what Brad Sham said in response. And he's like, well, they're all scrambling quarterbacks. I love that because, yeah, if you're just not going to try to get after the quarterback ever because you're worried about their legs, half the damn schedule it has quarterbacks that can run and move around, if not more. So you still have to get there. And when you watch James Houston still finds and knows a way to, okay, I can get upfield but not get too far upfield, then get flat, not necessarily inside, but get flat and push my offensive tackle into the quarterback's lap, or get flat and rip move and get to the quarterback and cause a sack or pressure. There's multiple ways to do it. And James Houston has proven that he can do it in that way. So for me, Houston and Jadeveon Clowney would eat into the rookie and Dante Fowler snaps, especially because Fowler being asked to play early downs is silly to me. That's where Jadeveon Clowney comes in. Nealon didn't have his best game last week following a good week 1. But again, to be expected when you have these young, unproven edge rushers or edge defenders who are still figuring these things out. Houston is a veteran. Jadeveon Clowney is a veteran. And again, shouldn't count on Clowney to save you, but being part of this rotation should help knock guys back. And actually increasing Houston snaps should help knock guys back into reality in a good way. That could help everybody. That'll help the rookie. That'll hopefully help Dante Fowler, right? Maybe light a fire up under him. It hasn't been the greatest start to the season for Dante Fowler, but put the guys out there, man. If you only got 17 of these things, now you only got 15 more of these things. And if you see that, okay, it's a little bit rough start for Dante Fowler, let's kind of decrease those snaps, and hopefully we'll get more efficient play out of him as opposed to higher snap count, low efficiency. So that's Matt Eberflus talking about these guys and the potential role change. For me, as I just said, I would Houston's Jadeveon Clowney this week, get a little bit more tick. Fowler is Rocco a little bit less tick. That'd be kind of the situation that I would make. Earlier I talked about, picking to score this game 27-14. I might have been a little bit drunk. You know what? I probably, because I didn't take my Z-Biotics pre-alcohol before I went and talked about this damn game. Shouts out to one of our sponsors this season, Z-Biotics. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about who and what they are. It is a pre-alcohol probiotic drink, the very first genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink alcohol, the alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut, and it is that byproduct that kind of brings you down. But the pre-alcohol produces an enzyme that breaks that down. But you have to remember to take this pre-alcohol first. Has to be your first drink of the night. And of course, drink responsibly so you can feel your best the next day. That's what this allows you to do. Sometimes you're like, man, do I want to turn up a little bit, feel a little good? Do I need to be ready to go back to work and bounce back tomorrow, deal with these kids? Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink will do that for you. Go to zbiotics.com/steele. Use the promo code STEELE. You'll get 15% off your first order. And it's backed by 100% money back guarantee if you are unsatisfied, but you won't be. Remember, zbiotics.com/steele. Use the promo code at checkout, ladies and gentlemen. It's right there, and it's also in the description. Let's take a quick little drink of your coffee. If you got to run to the bathroom, give me about 30 seconds, and we're going to break down this Bears offense against this Cowboys defense. They cannot for a second think that, okay, it was a fluke last week. Everything will be okay. Nah, they got to clean some things up because this Bears offense has talent. Might be catching them at a good time, though.
You're listening to Skywalker Steel.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and
reach for the sky. I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Hey, share this thing if you haven't quite yet. I need to do it my dang on self. Bears Cowboys week 3, another big match, or big important game for the Cowboys. Don't get it twisted. You pulled out a overtime thriller win against the lowly Giants. You lose this game, then that means absolutely nothing. You've got a big important matchup obviously the next week, but in order to get there, you don't want to get there 1-2. Not at all. Not at all. All right, let's break down this Bears offense. And honestly, it starts with the quarterback head coach relationship. I said this the other day. I don't know if it was here, if it was on Sky and 2i show, or if it was on the collective. Doing a lot of different things. But I think, and it's very early, but it feels like, at least, listening to Dak, seeing how they're playing, their relationship, I think we're starting to finally see a offensive play caller / head coach quarterback relationship that manifests on the field. There's that connection on the field. I always think about the Sean Payton, Drew Brees, Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes, hell, Tom Moore, Peyton Manning. You can go on and on with some of these OC / head coaches quarterback relationships and how important it is. Very early, but encouraging signs for the Cowboys with Dak and Shoddy. I said this during the offseason when they hired him. I think we're about to see an offense that we've never seen here in Dallas under the Dak Prescott era, where some of these other quarterbacks were put in different and modern, better offenses previously. And offenses that have complemented the quarterback and played more balanced or didn't really put everything on the quarterback's shoulders. This offense is doing that. It's a balanced approach. It's a complementary offense. I love how it's looking so far. On the flip side, they are figuring things out over here in Chicago with that said relationship. And you can kind of see there's a lot of things they got to work through between Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. This is the Ben Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, hired by the Chicago Bears to try to turn around this offense. And this is their first year installing this system. And this is really the first year of Caleb Williams playing anything like this. And you are seeing the ups and downs with this offense. Now, they get off to a hot start. That has happened in both games. They are top 5, I believe, in first quarter scoring, and they have scored on their opening possessions twice, 2 games in a row. Something the Cowboys have only done once in 2024. They did it, though, in week 1. So you see, like, okay, there's the Ben Johnson calling card, right? He is great at the opening script in those first 15 plays. But the rest of the game does require your Q and OC to be on the same damn page. And I don't know that has been the case throughout the rest of the game in both matchups, really. And honestly, the jury is still out on me of the fit for Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, because he's being asked to do things that he just has not done in the league. Obviously, he's only been here for a year, and in college. And then Caleb is kind of hero ball-y type of Q. Right, you're trying to get that up out of him. And look, one of his best assets to me is his legs. They are a weapon, and we've talked about this with going up against these type of quarterbacks. Cowboys got to be ready for it. All right, they just do. He's going to run around. He's going to get some first downs. It seems like every time he scrambles, he gets a damn first. And seriously, it seems that way. And he's going to be more athletic than Hurts, more dynamic than Russ. So even if you do trip him up from a coverage standpoint, what you hope he tries to do is still throw the rock. Because if he pulls it down, there's a chance he'll get a first down. Now, obviously, you'd rather him try to do that than just throw the rock for 350 yards all over the field on you. But that opening script has looked much better for Caleb. He's played, within the structure of the offense. It's when that is gone, right? And you get punched in the mouth a little bit. Can you stay on task? And then can Ben calm him down a little bit? You saw and there's only one pick so far, but you saw that pick. That's Caleb trying to be Caleb, right? Trying to make something out of nothing and just a horrendous throw and decision. And he'll give you some of these opportunities. But the thing is, when he stays on schedule. He stays pretty clean, and he's not trying to play hero ball every play. I mean, he can move the ball. But that's not been the case. As you can see right here, one of the most glaring statistics, 32nd in scoring percentage, meaning drives resulting in points. You are last in the NFL with this group of talent. DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, DeAndre Swift. That is a very good group of players there. Very good group. And here's a quote from Matt Eberflus. I'm sorry, from Ben Johnson. Let me make sure I get this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. He said, I did see significant growth from week 1 or week 2. It's not perfect yet. There's still a number of plays where our eyes aren't quite in the right position, or we're holding on to the ball just a tick longer. That's what we're coaching. But I did see tremendous growth in terms of going through the progression. There were a few times where we had to get from number 3 to 4 in the read, and he was trusting his feet, and his footwork was able to get there. I did think he was better from week 1 to week 2. I'm encouraged. You hear it in there that we are working through the fundamentals of what makes this offense go. Something that Ben didn't have to really work through with a veteran quarterback in Jared Goff, who really embodied this offense, can get under center, can read through progressions, understands coverage, understands this and that. He didn't have to do it. And he was there, obviously, for years. They are still in the infancy stage of this relationship and of this offense. Hence why, Machota made a great point. You could be catching them at a perfect time. Now, on the flip side, you could be catching the Cowboys defense at There's a flip side to that. There's a flip side to that. But Flus, this organization fired you. Rightfully so. This organization made you pack up your bags after what, 2 seasons? Relocate? Rightfully so. Either way, there's got to be some competitive spirit in you, right? There's got to be some wanting to get out for blood, some revenge factor into this, right? You know some of these players on both sides of the ball. That is an advantage. And they asked him about that. And he went to coach. They do a crosstalk or whatever, across the hall. And he said they do this every week or what have you. But this is one of them weeks where it's like, hey, Flus, come on up in here, man. Let me know about Stevenson and this and that in regards to the Bears defense. But also, Flus don't got to walk in nowhere. His assistants, Borgonzi and the boys don't got to walk nowhere. They can just go sit down and talk about what they know about Caleb, what they know about Rome, what they know about DJ, etc. These offensive players, they know them too. So he should hopefully use that information to help get after Caleb Williams, because I do think you have to get after Caleb Williams. We talk about holding on to the rock. Caleb Williams holds on to the ball at the 4th longest average in the league right now. And I don't think that's pass blocking. I think that's just him being a guy trying to make something happen. I don't believe their pass protection is all that great. In fact, of the top 10 quarterbacks who hold on to the ball the longest, he is second. He's the second most sacked player, or third most sacked player, I'm sorry. And he's second in pressures. Only Geno Smith, I think, has more pressures right there above him. But here's where it gets interesting. I had tweeted this out. Can I pull up the tweet? Let me pull up the tweet. Here's where it gets interesting. The irony. So, a stark contrast here. An interesting contrast. Caleb Williams has struggled versus the blitz. He's 9 for 23, 39%. Matt Eberflus's defense rarely blitzes. But when they do, it's been productive. Shouts out to John Owning for this. 7th lowest blitz rate, but 8th best pressure rate when blitzing. And 4th highest pass rush production when blitzing. I know you don't like to do it, Flus. I know you don't like to do it. But when you do, it works. And when you blitz this guy, it works. Now, he has 2 touchdowns against the blitz. One is only really, in my opinion, one legitimate touchdown. And that was last week, the first touchdown of the game. They did try to blitz him. It did not get home. Rome Odunze, I don't know. He just wide open. I mean, I don't know what the hell was happening. Wide open across the field, tutty. The other one is on the goal line from the 1 yard line. You know, that's really not much of anything. But between those 20s, when they have been heating him up, he's not been good against the blitz. Outside of the goal line, he's something like 8 for 22. Even worse, right? So I would heat him up a little bit more. I know Flus doesn't want to, but there's still a little bit of worry in me that if you just sit back there, rush 4 and try to mush rush, whatever you want to call it, he's just going to have time to sit back. And unlike Jalen Hurts, who when he sits back, he's not throwing that ball down the field. Jalen Hurts is going to run. The difference is Caleb Williams will either run or he will try to make a throw that, quite frankly, he can make off platform. Like he can roll out, and then next thing you know, you think, oh, he's not going to get it past this safety. But if it's Donovan Wilson, and he'll throw that thing down the field looking for Rome Odunze. So communication has to be better. Getting home has to be better. Interior pressure, I think, has to be more consistent in this game against Caleb Williams, because I don't believe in the exterior pressure just yet. They'll have to go out there and do it. I mentioned this last night. You know, going into the Giants game, there was no way there's no way I would have thought they would have thrown for 450 yards, because I would have thought at some point the pass rush would have been a problem against one of the worst offensive lines you're going to see. And it just wasn't. And I think one of the issues we're going to have is we can't win quick. And when you can't win quick or much at all, and then you got communication issues in the backfield, again, we talked about this. There are times where Russ, as soon as he would plant that back drop foot, it's comfortable. And he's got 2 hitches or you know, to step up and then launch it. It wasn't like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He steps back and there's pressure in his face consistently. That wasn't happening. It may have eventually got there. By that time, it's too late because you're already beat. Well, Caleb Williams is not saying he's Russell Wilson, but he'll throw that thing deep. My hope is that with all this damn zone, hopefully he mixes it up. It kind of confuses Caleb a little bit, because not only is he trying to learn Ben Johnson's offense, but he's also still learning how to read defenses in general. He's still trying to do that. So I do think we have to be a little bit more disguisey, because this is a young quarterback. I like to be more disguisey against a young quarterback. Russ, you weren't disguising much at all. I think you were just relying on your standard zone defense. But I don't mind if you try to mix it up a little bit here against Caleb Williams, because he is still young. He has not seen everything. You want to make him try to play that hero ball a little bit. So a lot of time spent on Caleb, because I do think he is the linchpin of this entire thing. I mean, the rest of these guys can play. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Komet, Swift, they can play. But obviously that does not matter if you're not getting Ben and Caleb on the same page and able to execute. Their offensive line is better for sure than the Giants. I'm kind of get back to my point. I felt so confident going into that game against the Giants from a pass rush standpoint, that because we didn't just tear them up like that, I'm a little more reserved to be as confident going up against the Bears offensive line, who can be had, by the way. I do think they're better, but they still can be had. I think their tackles are a liability if you had legitimate edges that, you know, could take advantage of it. Their interior is much better than the Giants. Their interior is actually their strength, so is ours. But again, I'll say this week in, week out, until proven otherwise, right? Going into the game, maybe we'll find a Pro Bowl interior line. Joe Tooney's good. You know, there's no doubt about it. I think he's a good player, but I like Clark. You know what I mean? Is it Jackson, the guard they got from the Rams? It's good. Their center's a little light in the butt. But you can hide the center a little better than you can hide the guards and the tackles, if you will. So, but they still can be had. Kenny Clark has been playing fantastic. This interior, Solomon Thomas playing like a man with his hair on fire right now. I think this interior is holding up their end of the bargain. The edge, the edge rushers, we want them to take that next step at some point, and it'd be amazing if it can be this game, ladies and gentlemen. It'd be amazing if it can be this game. If not, as I just said, they have guys that can make you pay. DJ Moore, they haven't really got off with him just yet, but you know, DJ Moore was one of those dudes. If the Cowboys didn't go out and get Pickens, this dude's a beast. He's a baller, man. He's a baller. Roma Dunze, a baller. DeAndre Swift is sneaky. They haven't really been a great run team just yet, but he could pop off for an explosive run or two. So you got to kind of be worried for that, and you got to make sure we are playing the run as well as we've had for the most part to start this season. So don't let him get going, because if they get that going, then that opens up everything else. But the Giants ain't get that going. They still, so it got to be a bounce back game. Selfishly for me, because you saw some encouraging signs of adjustments in the Eagles game in the second half. Not the first half. First half, they was on pace for 42 points. In the second half / third half, when that delay happened, it was really when that delay happened. So I saw encouraging signs there, thinking going up against a far worse offense that we could build on top of that, and it didn't happen. So will the real Cowboys defense please stand up? Matt Eberflus, they fired you, bruh. I know you said in the press conference, hey, man, we're just treating this like this is just another, and that's fair, right? You have to have that public persona talking to us. You don't want to give nothing away. But behind the scenes, wifey need to be in your ear like, yeah, they made us move. Yeah, they fired. You should be fired up to put belt to ass. Even though it was rightful. I mean, it was within their rights, and they probably should have fired your ass. What Michael Jordan say? And I took that personally. It's got to be personal a little bit. So do what you got to do to get these boys ready to play and bounce back. And hopefully, these boys want to bounce back themselves and play for their coach as they go into an environment where he once was. You know what I mean? As I look over here, peanut butter, no jelly, ham, no burger, cereal, no milk. That seems to be the thing in Dallas. As soon as we get a solid run game, or run defense, I should say, so far, is the opposite end of the spectrum for the pass rush and the pass defense per se. So that's the Bears offense. I think all this really centers around Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson. If they are on, we could see a high scoring game. If you can make them be off, if you can make Caleb, have to go to 3 different places with his eyes, he's confused, and you can heat him up a little bit. Pass rush, win some. Maybe the Cowboys can get back into what Flus likes to do. That's turn that ball over. Caleb ain't turning it over a lot yet. It's only been 2 games, but he has the ability to do so. He has the ability to do so. Yeah, Get Right said, if I was Flus, I'd throw out the exotic looks. He's not much of an exotic look guy historically, but this is one of those games, man, where I would try some different things. It's a rookie quarterback. I don't think he's going to pick up on different looks. He hasn't played enough, and he definitely hasn't played enough in this system. Flus need to borrow Jeep. He said, hey, who said that? Let me get Sir Lawrence said Flus need to borrow GP3 shiesty mask. Something. Hit the phone lines in a second here. You can call in 351-999-3787. Trying to pull this up prior to doing so. Let's talk to 972. What it is, what it do. Turn your house down just a little bit.
This Byron from from Oak Cliff. I called in.
Yes,
I think it
sir.
was Wednesday too.
What's up, Byron?
Oh man, I just got one. I got one question to ask you. What do you think about? So if they don't, if the defense, let's say the defense doesn't perform as bad, but they're still kind of bad this week, would you think about getting more athletic at the linebacker position and maybe going Maris and maybe going Bell?
So two things there. Somebody had brought up Bell last week, and I was like, I know we went through this whole project a couple years ago, but if you're going to play this much coverage with your linebackers, I'm not opposed to it. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the realistic thing here is Maris. I wouldn't even wait for that, to be honest. You've shown you want to play a ton of coverage with these backers, and if that's the case, Maris to me is your most qualified guy to do it. So I would make that change now. They mentioned after week 1 that he was going to get more tick, and he didn't really get that much more tick. So I believe it when I see it. But yeah, I'd make the change. I put Sanborn in Clark's spot. I put Maris in the middle. I know that's going to be tough because he hasn't really been green dot guy just quite yet, but you got to live through those growing pains. And then I'd keep Murray where he's at to kind of roam a little bit. So I would make that move now.
Yeah, the only reason why I said Bell is because now you do have some D tackles that can actually let him participate in the run game a little bit more than you would if you had Mozzie or any other type of D tackles that can't hold a point of attack for the linebackers to flow. That's the only reason why I said that,
but they still responsible to fill, and they're going to deal with some linemen sometimes and stuff. And he's just slight, man. He's just too slight, and you can target him. You can target him in the run game if they do it. So it's tricky because pass game wise, yes, I think he's athletic enough to do what you want. Run game wise, at the end of the day, we're talking about a 215-pound player. That's like physics will win out. Physical. Now, the thing is, we did see him shoot the gap sometimes and make plays and things like that, and he wasn't particularly terrible. But when teams decided to say, oh, you want to play light? Okay, we'll play heavy. And it just exposed him in the run game.
Okay. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yep, good stuff. You know, I'll tell you this, though. I know it'll tip the hat, or it'll tip the scales, if you will, your hand, per se. If that's all we had, that's the only other option we had on pass downs, I'm all for it. But it's not. Well, we got a legitimate linebacker that can do these things. So put the legitimate linebacker in the game. You know? 843, what it do?
Guy.
What's up?
Hey, this 843 show enough.
Show
I've been
enough.
listening to you for a long time, brother.
But thank you, sir. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind? Let me save you here. Show enough.
Man, I'm going to tell you like this, guy. The tough thing about it is that we having a lot of injuries. You know, new defense, injuries to corners, and, you know, our safety position. And, you know, it just makes it hard on the defense. The D-line is not getting there, you know, like once upon a time. And the D-backs, man, they really have to, you know, maintain a little longer than, you know, once upon a time it was just 2 seconds, you know. And I think just the, you know, the new scheme, the injuries, you know, Diggs, he can't be 100%. It's just tough scaling right now, man.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about a defense where I don't think these players are equipped for it, and they didn't really necessarily go out and get a bunch of players that are for this scheme, so they're trying to work through that aspect of it. But still, at the end of the day, you know, it's basic principles, and they're just not picked. They haven't picked it all the way up yet. But I'm very interested to see this week because Flus did mention again they have to be better with their nonverbal communication. They were trying to verbally communicate, and it wasn't getting to everybody. And we saw them be better at that in Philadelphia. I didn't see a whole bunch of you saw guys hands in the air, pointing, trying to figure out. You didn't see a whole lot of that in Philly. Now, there was still spots Philly could have attacked you, but their game plan just wasn't, and Hurts is not good enough to do it in that manner. But I didn't see a whole lot of miscommunication from a pre-snap situation. But at the crib, we did. And I wonder if it was because they haven't gotten their nonverbal aspect of this down pat. So I'm gonna be taking a look at that this week on the road where it should be quieter, which I know that sounds crazy, but that's something small that could be a big thing if you're trying to learn a new defense and a new skill set. Just something to think about.
True. Yo, Philly and the Giants. The game we should have won was Philly. The game we should have lost, was the Giants, man.
Yeah. I mean, fair. That's fair. I mean, hey, got the dub, though.
Yeah. Hey, God bless, brother.
Thank you, man. You as well. Show enough. I'm about to get you on one of them picks we talked about when they call in. All right, let's get to 917. 917, you are live.
Hey, what's up, Still? This is New York. It's been a long time. I ain't calling in a minute.
Yeah, I see this says New York, but is that what we're gonna put you in here as, New York?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you put me at, because I'm from the city.
All right, I got you, man. What's good with you, New York?
Honestly, I ain't gonna lie, Still. Word two, I'm still stuck on Overreaction Monday, even though it's Friday. I think that performance that Eberflus put up against the Giants was a fireable offense. And I know you're probably thinking, like, what do you mean performance? Like, he's not playing? And that's my gripe. A lot of people are, like, bringing up the discrepancies with Donovan Wilson and Trayvon Diggs. But to me, the coaching has to put them in the position to succeed. And putting Donovan Wilson in the middle of the field as the last line of defense to cover two sides of the field, the safety is not putting them in a position to succeed. And to watch Eberflus bang his head against the wall on his own for 4 quarters straight until the last seconds of the regulation where we got bombed on, I'm not blaming the players. I'm blaming Eberflus for sitting there in his own defense for 4 quarters. You let Rush go for 500 yards.
Yeah,
that was a fireable offense, if you ask me.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't fire him. But I get your frustration. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah, I'm just overreacting.
Right, it's overreaction Monday. I'm with you in that he needed to get some smoke, and because I felt like, and we argued about this on the collective. I felt like people were trying not to give him any smoke and just blame it all on the player. The players need to play better too. Number one, though, like at the end of the day, absolutely, he was putting trust in these safeties to be where they need to be. He's putting trust in these corners to be. He's putting trust in their defensive backs to not have miscommunications, to know what the hell was going on. So yeah, y'all got to be responsible for yourselves too. My gripe with him is not making him an adjustment. My gripe with him is saying, all right, bro, your guy is getting worked back there. Let's not put him back there. All right, man. Right. Pull Diggs to the side. What's happening? What are you seeing out there? Are you not? What's going on? Why aren't you XYZ? Hey, Elam, what happened here? What's going on? And if that's not working, make some adjustments, man. And I just don't know that I saw that. Even in overtime, they didn't do anything different. It's just we got back there. Russ hold the ball. Then Sam eventually got free. And I don't know what the hell Russ was thinking. And he just, Malik Neighbors is down there somewhere. So I just would like to see him adjust a little bit more and turn the heat up, bro, because we just talked about it. Even in the Giants game, the very few times you sent one extra defender, it actually worked.
It was effective.
I think they only had one positive play. So, just make the adjustments for me. So I'm not ready to fire him.
We just need to send.
Go ahead.
No, I was just making a joke. I was just gonna make a joke. We need to make sure we send somebody on the blitz who can tackle, because we're getting back there. We're just not tackling.
Well, I mean,
don't blitz Trayvon Diggs. That goes back to knowing your personnel.
That was week one.
Trayvon Diggs. He's the worst tackler on our team.
But it worked, though. I mean, it still worked. You still forced a positive play for the defense and negative for the offense. So while, yes, the sack didn't happen, you still got them to punt the ball because he got the pressure. So I feel like every time they've blitzed, it's almost been not necessarily a bad thing. It's been more of a good thing for the Cowboys. So, and again, the numbers back that up. They have been the fourth most productive pass rush unit when they've blitzed. Do it a little bit more, man. Do it a little bit more.
Right. Yeah, that was my only thing I wanted to bring up. I just hope that hopefully the zone is effective against Caleb Williams, because I don't see Eberflus getting out of it. I don't see him changing his way.
No, he's not. He's not going to do that. That's his game. It's just because we're a bend but don't break defense.
And we've seen it be successful. It was successful week 1 against Jalen Hurts. You didn't see a complaint from me. It was very successful week 1, and he killed us with his legs.
The second half, I was kind of, I was more encouraged.
Actually, you're right.
But it was the first game. It was the first game though, so I wasn't about to go crazy because he made the adjustment. That's what made me feel good. He adjusted, but they were on pace for 42 points but he adjusted. This game, I didn't really see that. We played that bend but don't break, and then by the time they got to the third quarter, they was just breaking before we can even begin to bend. And the whole point of this defense is to make them have to matriculate down the field, eventually make a mistake, get after the stop the run, and then get after the quarterback. And you weren't even letting them matriculate at one point. They were just bombs away after they matriculated.
Yeah, they were rolling.
Yeah.
But thanks, Dale. I appreciate you letting me up here. That's all I had. Hopefully we get this dub this Sunday. Because Green Bay is going to be tough week 4. I know you don't like looking ahead.
It's hard not to look ahead to that one, right? Like, just as a fan, you know what's coming up with that. So, but yeah, we got to take care of business on Sunday. Good stuff, New York. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Dale. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, good call. Yeah, I'm not necessarily looking ahead, but we know what's coming. That game gonna be fire. That's Sunday night, right? Man, that's gonna be a fire game. All right, let's get to these super chats. But I ain't trying to go in that game no damn 1 and 2. I'll tell you that much. No sir, Bobski. All right, today's the 19th. Shouts out to Dro Nose.
Super chat.
Earlier dropped 5 and said, tell Diggs to stop arguing with Bubba Dub and learn how to flip his hips to get out his back pedal. Also, why do we pay Bell and Thomas but start Dono? Dono ain't going nowhere, brother. Captain, you heard Coach Flus speak highly of him. He's still going to be there. So if he's going to be there, in my opinion, put him in better position. His best position is down around in the box. And you can see he want to be. We watched the film, y'all. What was Donovan Wilson doing? Forward. Everything forward. Eyes on the quarterback. Trying to he did not have natural free safety instincts. He had natural box safety instincts. Everybody else's hips open, getting back, and he's trying to, intercept, not necessarily intercept, but rob, and he's not playing robber. I don't think he had any robber responsibility that entire game from deep. But his instincts is to come forward. So then put his ass in the box then. And then, yeah, Trayvon Diggs, man, if y'all ain't seen the Bubba Dub thing. Oh, man, if y'all only knew about the Bubba Dub thing. I'll just say this. Because I don't know if y'all know, I'm part of the Bubba Dub team. I do production over there. And he hit me up before this went public and was like, hey, this is what we about to do. And I'm like, oh, damn, dog. I said, Diggs about to get flamed. Brother, why would you with a comedian? Why would you come on, with a comedian? I wonder if he watched stand-up comedy growing up. I've watched a ton of classic stand-up comedians growing up. Before this whole crowd work stuff started to pop up, on the TikToks and things like that, legitimately was doing crowd work, Def Comedy Jam, Comic View, things like that. These celebrities been roasting other celebrities and people in the crowd. Bro, you went into the DMs in your feelings with Bubba Dub. You don't know who Bubba Dub is, then, bro. I'd have just let that one go. You was better off coming at Matt Rife or somebody. Coming at Bubba Dub. Boy, you gotta have better awareness. His awareness was on 20. Bubba Dub don't give a f. He does not care about film and analytics and who's right, who's wrong. He gonna flame you. And that's exactly what he did. So hopefully he, gets the hell off of these interwebs. I remember in camp, he deleted all of the social medias when he was going through his mental situation. Delete that shit, man. He's yeah, man, a little sensitive. Body said Matt would have ate him up, but nobody would have cared about Matt Rife because Matt Rife can't say some of the things Bubba Dub said in the manner that he said. It's different when it's your peoples because you could talk to your peoples a certain way. Matt Rife would have did it a whole different way. Nobody would have gave a damn about no goddamn Matt Rife. But the way Bubba Dub chewed him. Let's save the rest of these. We got a couple callers. We'll get back to the calling lines. As a matter of fact, let me lock this up. Yeah, he did come at that reporter. You're right about that. He definitely do got a little sensitive. Big Amish from Lancaster. What's up? Now, you're not from Lancaster, but what's up, Big
How
Amish?
about them Cowboys?
How about
y'all?
him, man? How about him, man?
Hey, you know I'm not from Lancaster, but I'm calling you from D.C.
Shouts out to
but
DC.
yeah, the Amish are strong in Lancaster. A couple of comments for you. The edges on our defense, that's what's going to be exposed first. If it's going to be exposed, that's what's going to come down. They're going to do rollouts. They're going to pull what the Eagles did. They're going to try at least. And that's why we got Jadeveon Clowney.
Well, they didn't even.
In a way.
The thing about the Hurts, he didn't even they didn't do a bunch of design rollouts. Hurts was just dropping back, no pressure, just step up and escape. You know, that's what Hurts was doing. I think Caleb could do that.
Well, I mean, on a few of those plays, you saw Dante Fowler.
Yep.
I mean, I saw him run through. Once he saw Fowler take an inside rush, I saw. I mean, maybe it was one or two. I don't know, but that was being exposed. I mean, that's going to be our weakness, though. That on the edges, if we're going to have undisciplined defensive ends, that's going to be an issue. And how they're going to treat Caleb Williams, who does have the speed to get to the outside.
Yes, he does.
And or pitch it to Swift, or roll out and be the threat of the run and throw it. So that's why I'm saying the edges are going to play a pivotal role, as well as and if they start exposing that, it's going to make our safeties come down. Then you're going to start seeing bigger passes. That's the concern. But I believe the defense is not going to be the reason we win. Well, they're not going to be the reason we lose if we lose. I'm not planning on losing. I do believe this might be a trap game, though, because we had two divisional opponents, one against the Super Bowl champs and one against our pesky Giants, who we beat 13 times in a row. So they had reasons to be up for the game. But now we come off a win. You know, who are we, and what are we believing in? I believe it's going to come down to the offense identity. And are we going to run the ball? Are we going to try and get time of possession to help our defense? I mean, there's a lot of things we don't really know going into the game, and that is, you know, the defense holding up. Okay, that's kind of a given almost, but are we going to start running the ball? Because our offensive line, the loss of BB, is critical to Dak. That long slant to CeeDee Lamb against the Giants, BB's the one who hit that, I forgot which defensive lineman or linebacker was coming in and ready to smoke Dak, but he hit him long enough to hit CeeDee Lamb on that long slant. That's not going to happen with Hoffman. He's not going to have and because Hoffman is now next to a rookie. I mean, I'm very concerned for Dak. So that's what I'm saying. We have to almost invert the process, run pass. I don't mind a low-scoring game. I don't mind that at all.
All right, Amish, hold on.
And as much as I dislike the Eagles, and I want your comments, but as much as I dislike the Eagles.
Are you under there's a couple things here. Are you under the assumption the Cowboys have not ran the ball?
No, they have, but not enough.
What?
That's all. They in the second game, you saw those runs pay dividends, especially in that fourth quarter. That run by Javonte Williams.
Okay.
I mean, we would have lost the game. At the end of the day, we would have lost. What's that?
I'm not going to squabble with you over semantics. They've been one of the better running teams. I think they've been a balanced offense, in my opinion. But I mean, sure, the run game is part of this offense. It's baked into the DNA. It's important to this offense. I have not had any problems with how they've ran the ball. My problem with the run game is we need a second guy. That's my problem. I don't think we have a second guy. But you've been running the ball pretty well.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100% we don't have that special sauce back there.
Yeah.
We have a healthy dose of Javonte Williams, but we need that special back with that, that playmaking ability, that home run ball, Jalen Blue. But my point about the if we run the ball more, that's all I'm saying. I don't think it's sustainable to have Dak roll back and throw the ball as much as he's doing. Now, sometimes you have to do that.
I was just
that's
about
what
to,
the game's.
I was just about to say the game script called for that in the week 2, brother. It called for that. However, even within that, if you notice, they still stuck to the run game. My boy, they quite literally ran the ball to set them up for the game-tying field goal, which I thought was crazy, but it ended up working out. So it's not like they abandoned the run in that game. It's just, look, you need to get into scoring position. You have 2-minute drill. You got 33 seconds. You got overtime. You need to throw the ball because at the end of the day, your best aspect of your team is throwing the ball. What you don't want to do is abandon the run. And I don't believe they've done that in the first 2 weeks. So I don't know how we come out of the first 2 weeks and we're like, yo, we got to run the ball more. I don't think that's been an issue, Big Amish. So I'm going to disagree with you on that.
You could disagree, but here's what you have to look at. I'd much rather be 2-0 than 1-1. And if you look at the Eagles, as much as I dislike them, their game plan is time of possession. And their game plan is.
Are you trying to correlate them not being 2-0 to not running the ball enough?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying the time of possession.
What are you talking about?
The time of possession. What do I mean by that? How does Hurts run the ball on us? Are we tired?
Okay, so now we're talking about other teams running the ball on us. We're not talking about our team running. Let's stay on
35 minutes. I
promise you crazy.
They had 35 minutes of offense against us, and you mean to tell me
focus,
our defense wasn't tired?
What the does that have to do with the Cowboys' run game, Amish? But we're all over the place. Let's put a cap on this. Let's put an end closing on this.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's for another day. The cap on it is this. I also want to address the weakness of our special teams is also critical, and that is kickoff returns. And I'm not talking about our kicker. I'm talking about our return
kick
game
coverage
and coverage potentially.
Yeah, coverage.
Sorensen is not. Yeah, that's going to be exposed. I don't know how, but that might be the difference maker in this game.
I don't
understand.
I didn't look at their return. Who's their returner? That's a good question. Let me see here. All right. Go ahead.
Well, but our return game, we went from being top 1 kickoff returner, second with Cavante Turpin. We were averaging over 32 yards a kickoff return last year. Now we're at 22 yards a return, and that's a big difference.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about
as much
Cavante Turpin in a return game. I'm concerned about the coverage.
Well, both of those.
No,
because those are hidden yards. I mean, I'm not worried about Cavante Turpin, but we don't have this. The rules changed. I don't know if you realize.
Exactly. That's why I ain't worried about it. Because if you look at across the league, the rules have changed. So you can't look at last year from a return standpoint.
Well, New England
and Cavante Turpin has had good returns this year.
Right, the rules changed, but that you could have a great kick return if you don't have the right scheme to approach the new changes. As fast as Turpin may be, he's getting tackled. That's the problem.
He got tackled by his own guy, or he probably hits his head on the goalpost on Sunday.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is we might not have the right coach back there.
And then Tolbert. Tolbert had like 2 or 3 returns. And
Tolbert is horrible.
Yeah, man, we talk about here. But no, I think the return game is not the issue. To me, it's the coverage. We've been bad covering on coverage. I think Turpin, Anger, and obviously Brandon Aubrey have been fantastic to start the season.
That Aubrey and Anger are not the issue. To me,
or Turpin.
the coverage units and our returns. It's not necessarily even Turpin. It's what is our scheme to get them loose to get those big returns, because a 10-yard difference for Turpin is huge. He was averaging 32, now he's at 22. You went from the top to the bottom.
Where are you getting that number from? I would love to go look. I would love to go look.
Go look at what the return yardage is on kickoff for us.
Yeah, I haven't looked. But so because 10 yards is a big deal, but I haven't. In my head, I don't really see that. I don't see the Cowboys starting at the 15-yard line, every time. So it doesn't really register. So, but 10 yards is a big deal. But I've seen Turpin have some good returns this year in the punt and kickoff. So I don't know.
Look at the returns.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just try to. Can you tell me where you got it from so I can go take a look? I like numbers.
Wherever I researched it on my phone, but those are the numbers. I'm not lying to you, but you could, whether it's PFF or whatever, you're going to see we're not getting that. But the bigger picture as
in
well. In
closing, brother. In closing, I got one more call.
Oh, all right, yeah. In closing, basically, if you're high on Shoddy making these great calls, because he said we have the greatest coaching staff. Special teams is not one of them.
Jesus Christ.
That's all I'm saying. Sorensen was almost last in special teams with Jackson.
No, real rap.
Why in the world did we hire him?
I don't know, but you're spending a lot of time on something. You're right. We got to be better, but that's your in closing statement?
Well, in closing is better teams are going to expose our weaknesses. That's all, bottom line. So we're only as strong as our weakest link. I'll leave you with that, my friend.
Captain Obvious.
How about them Cowboys?
Appreciate you, big homage. Oh, my gosh, bro. 443. Close us out here, man. What's up? 443, you still there?
You hear me, Scott?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Yeah, I'm here, Scott. I don't know where your call is coming from, bro. I don't know what that last dude talking about, but anyway, I just have a few statements. This is Vic from Baltimore, man. I missed you Monday, but
what's up, Vic?
I don't know what Matt Eberflus is talking about if you're looking at Donovan Wilson play on the top of his defense, man. Like, I would rather have Malik Hooker playing on the top of the defense if you're going to keep Donovan on the field. And I feel like our cornerbacks are playing so soft, and it's giving our D-ends a bad rap because the first half of the game, before he started bombing away, I'm talking about Russell, he was getting the ball out of his hand so quick because they're giving them 8 and 10 yard cushions. They didn't give our D-ends time to even have a pass rush. And I just think that Matt has to adjust, and it just makes our D-ends look like they're not doing their job. And last but not least is I feel like
they're not doing their job too, though. So the two things can be true.
Yeah. Well. You're right.
Your best defensive end is your best defensive end has been your fifth defensive end on the depth chart. Your fifth defensive end on the depth chart has the second most tackles on the team and has been the best pressure rate guy. Like that's not good, bro. It's not good.
I understand. And my last thing, you just hit the nail on the head, man. Houston needs to get more reps. He had 16 reps, but most of his reps were impactful. Whether he's getting pressure or whether he's getting, tackle for losses or diverting, I don't understand why. Schottenheimer said it's going to be competition. I want to keep him at his word. If it's competition, then let competition be the key. Like, Fowler needs to take less reps and put Houston in. Donovan needs to put Thomas in or make him a linebacker or somewhere he can just attack. But on the roof, he made Trayvon Diggs look bad. And he made 20 Elam look bad as well. And they both raising their hands and, like, trying not to make him look bad on TV, but he making them look bad. So that's all I got to say, Scott, man. I just appreciate your work, man. I appreciate your show. Sky and 2i, man. I appreciate all that, man. I don't miss you.
Thank you, bro.
All right, Sky, bro.
Salute. Yeah, there's still growing frustration, right, from Eberflus in the defense. And that's why I say, let me see. No, we don't want that one. But that's why I say it's a bounce-back game or bust, right? It's a bounce-back game or is it a bust? Like they have to. And I'm being selfish, but I bet you a lot of people feel the same way. They got to go out there and give me something to be encouraged about moving forward. One game you did some of that, next game you didn't. So this is the third game, kind of the rubber match, as they say, right? So, and again, revenge factor, that has to play a factor in this thing, man. It has to. It has to. Plus, I'd rather have some momentum moving forward because it's only going to get tougher. Your schedule's not going to get easier. You need to start building that confidence. My confidence a little shot from last year, or last week, I'm sorry. Compare from week 1, how it kind of ended. I would like to get a shot in the arm of that. A little hopium is all. A little hopium, man. All right, let me get back to these supers, and we're going to end the show here. Good stuff. A little shot? Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay, where was we at here? We had Dro. Let's get to my brother Twan. He dropped a couple. I'm going to read all of his. There's a couple in here. 3 of them, actually. Appreciate you, bro. He dropped 5 and said,
Super chat.
Our zone switches are horrible. What we need to change. Our zone switches are horrible. What do we need to change? If our rush not marrying with the back end is going to keep happening. I agree. What we need to change is either A, quite literally change the deep safety out instead of having Dono there. But if he's going to be there, then we need to have better communication. My worry is that if he is still back there, it's on film now. We know how to trip up his eyes. We know because he has undisciplined eyes in the awareness. And Dayball saw it, and he kept doing it. He kept feigning a receiver or tight end in what he perceived as his area. On the touchdown, a couple of the touchdowns, really, it was just tight ends coming to the middle and sitting down. And I don't know, for whatever reason, he's playing on that. He's keen on that, which is crazy to me, especially when you got teammates in that area. Trust your teammates. Get back. So I wonder if in this game specifically, Ben Johnson sees that and he runs similar action to him because the 3x1 set was tearing his ass up. Tearing him up. So if he can show improvement in that area, I'll feel a lot better moving forward. But it's still not his game. Still not his game, man. Twan dropped another one. He dropped 10 and said, 11 personnel motion, isolate Pickens, let CD cook in the slot. Rajavante to set up the play action defensively, 2 high quarters, bracket DJ Moore, be clean, passing off crossers, Cowboys 31-23. That is Twan's game plan, which reminded me, by the way, give y'all my sleeper picks for this week. If you don't know about Sleeper, man, you better get the knowing about Sleeper. It is the #1 daily fantasy app out there right this moment. And if you use my promo code STEELE, you will get $100 match on your first deposit. That's right, up to $100. Turn that knowledge of football into real money on the ultimate fantasy sports app that is Sleeper. Pick more or less of your at least two of your favorite players in the game, and you could turn that IQ into some bread. I got my picks this week. And you brought up Cedarian Lamb. I believe how you say it. Cedarian Lamb. CD Lamb. I'm more, by the way, all the way through here. Anytime tutty for CD Lamb, more. Their secondary. We got a poor secondary right now, right? Or at least it's shown that. Theirs is worse, in my opinion. I know that sounds crazy to say, but they do not have their 2 best players out there in Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson. And Stevenson was getting his absolutely worked by Monroe St. Brown out that slot. So this would be a game. We talk about this on the collective. All right, now let's see either Turpin or CD, but I would try to match up CD. Maybe we motion CD inside from time to time to get that matchup. And what they're doing because Dennis Allen doesn't like to run all this zone that he's having to run, but they play a little bit more man. So they'll play too high, but then they'll have some man underneath. And he can't run with CD, bro. Nobody really can for real, but he definitely can. So I got CD getting his first touchdown. Smash that more. Caleb Williams I believe it's 26 and a half rush yards. More. At the end of the day, I would like to hold him under 20. But if he gets 20, 27, 28 rush yards or whatever it is, I can live with it because he's going to run. He's going to be running. In fact, you actually hope that he runs more than he's able to just drop back, be comfortable, step up, and throw the ball downfield. So if you go look at his 2 games, first game was fantastic. I think he had like 50-something rush yards. Second game, I think it was like 20-something. And he had a touchdown in that first one. So he's going to run the ball. I think he's going to attempt to run it quite a bit. And I just see him having more than 20, was that 26 and a half? 26 and a half pass yards. So give me the more on that one. And then Javonte Williams, ladies and gentlemen, more on just one touch, on a touchdown. Basically a half a touchdown. Give me more. I think we make it 3 in a row for Javonte Williams. He is already at 3 right now. 2 rushing touchdowns in week 1, had a rushing touchdown last week. This Bears defense is not good against the run, especially when you use a lot of pre-snap motion, misdirection, and things like that. I think Javonte Williams is going to have another quality game. They did up his yards. I think last week the yard total was an easy get. It was something like 54 or something like that. They upped it to like 65-ish, 66 maybe. I still think he could potentially hit it because they're not really using Miles Sanders. It's all Javonte Williams right now. So I got him scoring another rushing touchdown. And I feel confident in that because we're utilizing a creative run game in the red zone. And call me crazy, I still think there's a lot in this offense we ain't really seen just yet. There's a lot of aspects to this we haven't seen. And Clayton Adams has hinted to it. And I think we'll see that as the game or the season moves on. But right now, we get into the red zone, running the ball into the end zone is working. So there's really no need to get cute. And they're not trying to get cute. And I love that because how many years have we gotten down there and it's just been like, oh, what is this play call? I specifically remember against the Detroit Lions, throw, pick. I run the ball is legal. So head on over to Sleeper. Get that 100% deposit match up to $100 by using my code STEELE. Lock in these picks, ladies and gentlemen. They hitting. You see, I stayed away from passing yards. I ain't touching passing yards from a defensive side for a couple weeks. I'm leaving that alone. I got duped in week 1, so I'm chilling. I'm chilling on that. This right here, that's it. That's it. Back to these
Super chat.
Oh, we had one more. We had one more from Twan. He said, force Caleb to nibble downfield. One of my words I like to use is matriculate downfield. Instead of hitting explosives, patient drives, more chance for Dallas Rush to finally get home and flip momentum. That's this defense. This defense is all about making you matriculate down the field as supposed to be. And you hope that you make a mistake. I don't even know if it's about them hoping to get home from a rush standpoint. They just seem to not care about it. If what Israel was saying. And I don't believe in our edges just quite yet. They got to go and prove it to me this week. But you hope they make mistakes, right? Somebody misses a blocking assignment, penalties, forced fumble, interception, something. It took a while. But eventually you got that turnover on the last play for the Giants in overtime. So Caleb is more talented from a throwing standpoint, but Caleb isn't as accurate as Russ, but he can be just as aggressive and sometimes overly aggressive. And Ben has to make him kind of play more in structure. And there's always opportunities in the bend but don't break defense to get those nibbles, right? To get that matriculation. It's just about once you get around that green zone, money zone, red zone area, you got to tighten up, force a field goal or force a stop. But there's going to be nothing but space and opportunity if they go out and play it the way they played it, soft, off. You know, 1st and 10, we're 7-8 yards back. 3rd and 6, we're 8 yards. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're going to get their little 5 yards, turning it into 10 type situation because that's the type of defense you play. Brian Goo.
Super chat.
Speed dropped 5 and said, Morning, Sky. What do you think a Flus answer is for the cornerback safety room this week? Better communication. I think that's the answer. I don't think he's going to make any changes. No Deron Bland is coming back. It'll be the same people out there. I think he's probably harping on communication, though. That's the change.
Super chat.
Brandon John dropped 5 and said, let's not forget that Flus led up the game-winning Hail Mary versus Commanders last year, yeah, and let Russ cook on the deep ball last week. Get right, Flus. I don't actually blame him on the Hail Mary. I don't blame him on the Hail Mary. I mean, this is why you need a pass rush. Jaden Daniels should not have 10 seconds to run around back there. I know if a specific player was on that defense, he wouldn't have no damn 10 seconds. But he should not have 10 seconds, number one. Number two, correct me if I'm wrong here, wasn't there a player quite literally, as the ball is in the air, turned around mocking the Washington football fans like this? Ball in the air? I want to say he was damn near at the railing or what have you. So I can't put that one off. That's a Hail Mary. You know what I mean? It dropped the hell, but everybody got back except this dude turning around, pulling off the Swaggy P gif. And Noah Brown catches it on him. So I don't really put that. What I put on Flukes is that Lions game. I mean, what the hell was that? And in regards to like egregious play calls. And yeah, he did let Russ cook. It was Tyreek Stevenson. Yeah, so that was turn around like, yeah, next thing you know, they back there catching the rock. What are we doing? I don't know how he's still on the team. He'd have been gone, bro. He'd have been gone. But either way, Brandon, he has to get right? He absolutely has to get right off of that last game, point blank period. Let me get one more refresh, make sure we straight. And we are straight. Appreciate you, Twan, Brian, Brandon, and Dro for the supers this morning. That game was crazy. That was the game where I said, shit, this Washington thing ain't a fluke this year, huh? It's their moment to shine in 2024. Not necessarily 25, but I'm like, yeah, they're gonna be going through. It's gonna be a magical year for them because when that happens, you just know it's your time. It's your time. Hey, good stuff this morning. Appreciate y'all for coming through. On the way out, hit the like button if you just dropped in here and missed the show. We broke down the Cowboys defense against that offense and took a listen to Matt Eberflus, who is, the whole defense is on the hot seat, not necessarily about being fired, but just after last week, how are you not, right? How are you not? So share this thing. Appreciate all the calls coming through this morning. Good stuff from each and every one of y'all. I'll be back Monday to give another overreaction Monday, and then we'll break down. You know what's happening with me going on a little bit later East Coast time? I'm able to get a little bit of the film on Monday morning, but I kind of don't want to really watch the film. When I come on here, I want to just talk about just pure our emotions of what we saw, because it is kind of our emotional Monday, our therapy Monday, and then Wednesday we talk about film. But boy, I be cheating. I be cheating, man. That film started to come in a little early. Shouts out to NFL Pro. And I just be wanting to see what's happening out there. So we'll see how I feel Monday morning. Yeah. Sometimes I want answers. And I can only get the answers from the eye in the sky. But I do think it is important to have that therapy Monday just based off of our initial broadcast view and feelings. I do think it's important to kind of live in that moment. And then we get the answers as they roll in. I always think that part of what we do is fun. So check back in with me on Monday. If you missed the Sky to Wire episode, please run that back. We talked about the offense in grave detail. And if you missed me breaking down the Bears defense, that was Wednesday. All right. Good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. Appreciate y'all. Y'all make sure y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Shouts out to Z-Biotics, probiotic, pre-alcohol. If you're going to have a good weekend, if you're going to, turn up a little bit, make sure you go get that. All right. Don't forget to put your sleeper picks in either. We getting that bread. Shouts out to Knicks. I saw Knicks on I can't talk about who he used, but I saw Knicks hit. He hit on his picks. If you use my picks and get hit me up, man. Shout you out. Sleeper like to see that. They like to see that.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Bears 34. Cowboys 34, Cowboys 23. Cowboys 34, Bears 23, Professor O's score. Let me reevaluate my pick. 27-14 was a little low. I'm going to stick to 27. It's a 27-21 Cowboys. Yeah. Be out of here. Love y'all. Peace. Y'all the best, man. Let me tell you something right now. I don't care how trash this Bears defense is. Don't let us put up back-to-back 40 burgers. Y'all gonna have to tell me to pipe down for real.